Part 40. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 391. Because for Oreki, the difference between being a senior and a junior is as simple as whether he can use it to make money. Otherwise, the first-year students who have not yet entered school would not be packaged and sold to Houtarou. So there really is no respect. Everyone is a sheep. So he treats them all in the same way. There is no favoritism. Even now, preparations are being made to harvest a wave of hair from these senior sheep. So Takabana-senpai, Oreki said, "Are you worried about this exam?" Nothing happened. Although I am not in charge, my relationship with the team is definitely not bad. It would be better to say that we still get along very harmoniously. Tachibana Akane seemed to have recovered a little emotionally. Then why are you crying in a place like this? Oreki-san pointed out directly. Just say I'm not crying anymore. So Oreki pointed at the area around his eyes, and Tachibana Akane quickly checked whether they were wet with her fingertips. Yet it was dry there. Just wiped it clean. She immediately understood that Oreki-senpai was deceiving her. So he immediately glared at me with angry eyes. What I'm worried about, what I feel uneasy about is the matter about President Horikita. Secretary Tachibana Akane finally said after being angry for a while, although we are students in the same class, neither I nor my classmates have any feelings for him. There are too many dependencies. After a semester, you probably understand that our class evaluation scores have been continuously overtaken by Class B, and now we are only 500 points behind. In other words, this was the reason why she wanted to hide her crying. Akane Tachibana continued, President Horikita-san has always fought alone. It can be said that if Horikita-san is defeated, class A will fall. Because our class A students are always holding back, we have also lost a lot of class points that we don't need to lose, and even personal points. He has always sacrificed himself to protect his friends along the way, Tachibana Akane added. And he's had it hard. So, Tachibana Akane said, I can't cause him any more trouble. In other words, Tachibana Akane admitted that she would hide here and cry, which means that she was indeed bullied in the group. Everyone knows whether the students in class A are strong or not. If it is strong, then there will not be so few members of the third-year class A in the student union. And Fujimaki, who was pushed out before, would not be caught off guard by Ryuan's move. But there is no doubt that Tachibana Akane trusts Horikita Manabu very much, so she is crying here because she is worried that Horikita Manabu is under a lot of pressure, so she is not willing to cause trouble to the other party if she is bullied. It's me. I've also heard about the situation of boys, Tachibana Akane said. Horikita-san was provoked into a competition by Nagamo-san, and he was unable to move because of it. There is also a matter where we can't help at all. In the end, the comprehensive score needs to be calculated based on the large group, so the efforts of most students will be effective, and if you don't work hard, you won't be able to drive others. He's already had a hard time. Tachibana Akane said. Always on your own against everyone around you. And us girls may not get any points this time. All we can do is deduct a few points. Anyway. Having said this, Senior Akane Tachibana already felt relieved and stood up. Please don't take what happened today to your heart, and don't say anything strange to Chairman Horikita. And can I trust you about this kind of thing? Akane Tachibana looked into Oreki-san's eyes. Junior Oreki's eyes are quite beautiful, with dark green pupils that can reflect people's shadows. This is Akane Tachibana using the word trust. Generally speaking, it is very satisfying to be believed by others. But don't you know, Ju Akane-senpai? You can't handle the current situation. There is no point in swallowing your anger. It will only make class A of the third grade fall completely. For you, if you don't tell Horikita anything, then the last few months of third grade will probably be the scariest. Because every month's special exam is a battle to defend the title as the scores are approaching. That kind of state can easily drive people crazy. Oreki-san thought to himself. It's just that Tachibana-chien was still looking forward to his request, waiting for his reply. Of course, Oreki-san said. I promise not to tell Horikita nii anything about you crying. I hope you can do it. Akane Tachibana, who had just said that she must use honorifics to show respect to her seniors, bowed to him seriously. Then she prepared to walk towards the toilet. Presumably, he was planning to rest there for a while, let his crying eyes subside, and then return to the dormitory. P.S. There is one more update. Also, please ask for free blades, the one that Chik automatically gives you 1-2 blades every month. Ying ying ying. Also changed the cover. Chapter 158 Class A's sacrifices are ready. So the time has come for the last day. Thursday. According to the requirements of the exam, all students completed the exam content in their respective groups at the same time from 7 to 11 o'clock. The results of the exam will be announced at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when all students gather in the gymnasium. Oreki-san's group is the third group. The examination items are still meditation, speech, 20-kilometer relay race, and written examination. However, the order is the written test first, then the 20-kilometer relay race, and finally meditation and speech. Among them, meditation and speech are mastered through learning skills. The content of the written test is related to the courses taught by everyone, so it is not too difficult once you master it. As for the 20-kilometer relay race, everyone is required to run at least 1.2 kilometers. Because of Hashimoto-san's activeness, the atmosphere in Group 3 has changed. Ishizaki and the others no longer complain so much, but prepared to complete this exam together. Therefore, some arrangements were made in terms of distribution, and it was still divided equally into 20 kilometers. Each person needs to run 1.82 kilometers. However, Yukimura, who seems to be in poor physical condition, only needs to run 1.2 kilometers, and then the extra 0.6 kilometers are divided between the infected Ishizaki and Albert. Yes. Even among the members of this group are Kojinji-san and Oreki-san who shined in the sports festival, and Ayanokaji Kiyotaka who can confirm his hidden strength. Or Ryuan, Ishizaki Daiichi, and Albert who are in good physical condition. But Oreki-san didn't ask them to run more to increase their scores. After all, they are not a seed group, just a top group, and they don't need to take first place. So just complete the exam normally. But Oreki-san also went to pass on the mission. This time in the boys group, Katsuragi's group from Class A, Grade 1, needs to get first place in the group. In this regard, I can take advantage of forming a team with Horikita Manabu. But as for Nagamo, it's okay to make Nagamo feel sick. So Oreki entrusted Katsuragi to inform the two classes students in Hirata's group who teamed up with Nagamo, and let them take advantage of the situation. The exam is based on a large group composed of 3 grades to calculate the average score, so any group of any grade will have an impact on the large group. In this way, the exam, which lasted 3.5 hours, was over. Then we just need to gather back at the gym at 2 o'clock and wait for the exam results to be notified, said the onboard digital teacher of Class C, Grade 1, who was in charge of invigilating the exam. And as he said this, he glanced at Ryuan of this group. But Long Yuan ignored him and just left his back. Ryuan was not good at it, and the teacher on the board side. Because judging from the composition of the students, you can rest assured that among the first graders this time, the final winner is still the first grade Class A. So after Hiri came to power, Class C was not competing for class ranking but for money. And here, if his class ranking cannot be improved, his salary will not increase. It seems that I have to be serious about paying back the money again. The exams for the 4 items in the morning are over. The students went to the cafeteria to prepare lunch. In the previous course, I had to run a round trip of 20 kilometers every 2 days. Very hard. But now the exam only needs to be run in sections, so it is not so tiring. But after all, a big thing has been accomplished, so there are many people who want to treat themselves to something good. Not to mention that coming to forest school is free. So you can order whatever you want. Although due to space constraints, some students are still taking exams. However, 2/3 of the students have completed it. And this also makes the canteen different from usual, a little empty. Naturally, it is easier to find people. Isn't this Oreki Houtarou? A voice appeared next to Oreki-san. It was the voice of Nanyunya, a handsome second-year boy with short blonde hair. Today, Nagamoya and Horikita are studying together. Have you finished the exam too? Oreki responded. I'll wait a moment, Horikita-senpai, Nagamo said. After all, he and I still have an upright duel. I will prove to the school that I am excellent. And Horikita-senpai can only recognize me. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 392. Then Nagamo looked at Oreki-san. Which one do you think will win, me or President Horikita? While Nanyun was talking, a voice came from behind. You're in the way. A man with red hair parted in the middle stood behind him, holding a dinner plate in his left hand. This is Ryuan from Class C, first grade. Nanyun. This is the cafeteria, and Nagayun is indeed in the way. But when the surrounding students saw him and Horikita together, they automatically got out of the way. As a result, some people actually walked towards the trail here. It's quite interesting, Nanyun said to Ryuan. I know you, Ryuan from Class C. It used to be fun. It was crazy. How about, do you want to place a bet on the match between me and Chairman Horikita? Nagamo said. If you win the bet on me, then I can double your money. Not interested. Ryuan said. Nanyun. Not interested. Yes, Long Yuan said. How much can you offer? 10,000. 100,000. I'm not interested without 1 million. And you can't give 1 million. Then it's meaningless. Nanyun. Day. He does not have 1 million now. Not only that, he still owes Ichino's 3 million. Nagamo felt a little depressed. Apart from Sakayanagi-san, Archangel Ichinos, and Oreki Houtarou, why were there any first-year students so greedy for money? Opening your mouth means 1 million. These first graders. They all fell into the eyes of money. Probably because he felt in a bad mood, Naun left quickly. And Manabu Horikita glanced at Oreki-san. Oreki-san made a gesture to him. Horikita Manabu also left after that. He also noticed that because he and Nanyun were so conspicuous just now, the students around them did not dare to come over. As the student council president, he did not want to cause trouble to the students. Although there was a small episode. But Oreki-san returned to his old place. You are a very busy man. And next to Sakayanagi Arisu's old seat, a super cute girl with straight silver hair was sitting there. Well, Oreki-san said. That's almost the end. Also, is the mission completed? Oreki asked. It was a success, Lure said. As you wish, I abstained. But you do have a little problem there, Sakayanagi said. Someone reported to me that someone from the Hirata team on the boys' side did not obey your orders. Oreki. The exam is basically over now. Almost all the boys have arrived at the cafeteria. So Banliu came from Class A on the Hirata side. Hirata's group sent 2 boys from Class A over. One is Hamaguchi, who was in the same group as Oreki in the preferential candidate exam, and the other is Katsuragi's mama Tatsuka Yahiko. Hirata's bottom line is that he hopes that 2 good students from Class A will come here and improve their scores to prevent them from being at the bottom. and Hamaguchi is a member of the Itanyanaga sect. So now Itayanaga knows that this news was probably reported by Hamaguchi himself. In other words, Hamaguchi obeyed, but Yahiko-san did not comply. But just because Yahiko doesn't comply doesn't mean it's impossible. Maybe he is Katsuragi's Mazai, not his Mazai, and he is not from the Itanyanaga faction. At the same time, Yahiko's group is a group of boys from Class D. The leader of the group who comes last in the exam will be expelled. The person in charge can then designate a dragging student to drop out. So he was worried that Hirata's group would be at the bottom and he would be expelled from school. This is for yourself. But Oreki-san looked at Sakayanagi Yuzu. Sakayanagi is not someone who cares about these things casually. So there must be something profound about her mentioning it. So Oreki looked at her. The little princess with straight silver hair keeps a cute smile. Father sent a message, Sakayanagi said. The acting principal has been promoted to a permanent position. Oh. Yuzu Sakayanagi is the daughter of the school chairman. At the same time, this is now outside the school, so the information can be received. So. Very true. Little Banliu. Because, this means that after returning to school, the exit exam for Ayanokaji Kiyotaka will begin. Then if class A is affected, what needs to be done is to choose a disobedient person to sacrifice. Yes, it is the choice to sacrifice, because the average class A student is worth /U003C 20 million private points. Chapter 159. The dormitory exam begins. First place. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All the students gathered in the gymnasium, and now they lined up according to their classes. But the boys and girls stood separately. Oreki-san stood at the head of the boys' row in Class A, the first grade. And on the right is a second grade student. What a coincidence. The top boy in Class A of the second grade is Nagaunya with short blonde hair. But Naun seemed to be in a good mood. Before gathering on the boys' side, he went to the girls' team first, probably to confirm whether the girls' team was deployed according to his requirements. Then now the whole person seems to be in a good mood. Oreki Houtarou, Nagamo said. Oreki. What does Nagamo-senpai want to say? Do you just call me senior now? Soon you will have to call me Chairman Nagamo, Nagaunya said. Nanyun was indeed in a good mood. He was still in a bad mood when Ryuan choked him in the cafeteria during lunch break, but he has fully recovered now. I'm quite disappointed, Nanyunya said with some regret. The challenge I extended to you. You actually didn't realize it at all. You may not know what kind of big opportunity you missed. And Katsuragi. Nagamo looked at the tall, fat, bald boy standing behind Oreki. If you work hard, I can give you the position of vice president of the student union. I'm quite optimistic about you, Nanyun said. Katsuragi looked over confused. Because? Wasn't Nagamo-senpai expelled from the student union? What weird things are you saying now? In other words, Nagamo-senpai did something, Oreki-san said. Yes, Nanyunya said. Do you think I am dueling with Horikita-senpai? I am indeed dueling with him. But it's a pity. The person I want to really fight is you, Nagaunya said. Because this is your last chance, Oreki-senpai. First grade, second grade, and third grade, there will be a very special exam every year. You can improve your score and get a lot of points in this exam. I think you have experienced it when you took the exam on the island. And this time the forest exam is an opportunity for third graders to improve their scores. In other words, after this test, there will no longer be special tests with high scores for third graders. And now, the grade 3 class evaluation scores are as follows. Class A of the third grade scored 2,401 points. Grade 3 Class B 1908 points. Class C, Grade 3, 233 points. Grade 3 Class D 150 points. Among them, 3rd grade Class C and Class D have lost the possibility of graduating from Class A. The gap between Grade 3 Class B and Grade 3 Class A is only 500 points. If the distance between Class B of the 3rd grade and Class A of the 3rd grade can be greatly shortened in this examination, both classes will become particularly anxious in the next special examination. And under this situation, if I continue to support Class B of Grade 3, Class A of Grade 3 will face disaster. Nanyun said. So as long as such a situation arises, President Horikita can only make one choice. Choose me to be the next student council president. This way I no longer support Class B, Grade 3, Nagayunya said. And it is already understood here. Nagamo knew that he would not be recognized by Horikita Manabu. The birth of the student president requires 2 conditions. 1. The student council president approves and selects candidates. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 393. To all students in the school vote, and the person with the most votes wins. And Nagamo clearly understood that Horikita would not nominate him. So, is he going to create a dilemma for Class A of the 3rd grade, and then make Class A of the 3rd grade have to compromise? It is true that Horikita Senpai is a very good person. He is also the best student council president in history, which is admirable. But it's a pity. In his class, he always led everyone by himself. That is to say, 39 with 1. Then there is this last and most important situation. He can only compromise for the sake of these 39, Nanyunya said. Katsuragi-san. From this point of view, Katsuragi-san in the student union thinks that if Nagamo can do this, President Horikita will accept it even if he doesn't want to accept it. Because President Horikita is very strong, but he is not the kind of person who is completely inflexible. Especially as they are about to graduate, the ideal futures of the entire class of 40 people depend on this. Then he would compromise on the position of student council president. Only. Katsuragi looked at Oreki-san. Oreki-san asked him to deliver some signals in today's exam. For example, let's let Yahiko and Hamaguchi of Hirata's team take advantage of the situation to hinder Nagamo. Although this is done to ensure that the average score of his side seed group will be higher. Then it can also affect the average score of the student council president's group to increase. But, what did Oreki-san see when he got to this point? Is it just to let the class group win first place, or is it, seeing through it and stopping Nagamo? But this kind of thing is impossible, right? Katsuragi-san said. Because President Horikita is very strong, there is a high probability that the president will get first place in this exam. More than just big. Because they are also in the first group. So if Horikita Manabu takes first place, then they will also take first place. First grade class A will directly receive a class evaluation score of 324 points. And President Horikita can get 234 points if he gets first place, so Class B of the 3rd grade still can't catch up. It seems that you don't trust me, Katsuragi-kun, either, Nagamo said. Then your position as vice president is gone. Katsuragi seemed to pause for a moment. And maybe you haven't guessed it yet, Nanyun said. The core of this exam is to test every student, and then let some students form teams. And once a group of students takes advantage of it, what will happen? And Neunya, Nanyun paused. The people I have at my disposal are the entire grade. Dominate the entire 2nd grade. Then you can ask any second-year student to abstain from voting. Could it be that? Katsuragi has already reacted. There was even sweat on the forehead. Oreki-san arranged for Hamaguchi and Yahiko of Hirata's team to fish, but since Nagamo can control the second years, he can definitely let more second years team up with them to fish. As long as you touch enough, the average score of the large group will drop. And this is something Nagamo can do. So, not only Chairman Horikita, but also them will be implicated in the end. But at this time, Teacher Mashima, the head teacher of Class A, was standing at the front desk. The students looked over quickly. The class teacher of Class A of the 3rd grade who spoke for the first time did not speak at this time. He stood aside, while Oreki and his class teacher Mashima was responsible for speaking. First of all, congratulations on completing the forest camp that lasted for 8 days and 7 nights. The examination results will now be announced. The announcement will start from the boys group. Mr. Majima said with a loudspeaker. The first place to be announced is the boys category. The difference in points between first place and second place in the big group is very small. But, the first place is the group consisting of Horikita Manabu, the leader of Class A of the 3rd grade, Kiriyama, the leader of Class B of the 2nd grade, and Yasuhei Katsuragi, the leader of Class A of the 1st grade. Congratulations, each member of this group has received 10,000 private points, and the class evaluation score is at 3. Please try to calculate the points for triggering the multiplication mechanism and the rewards for being in the same group as the person in charge, and finally get the correct points from the class teacher. Among them, the 1st grade class A that won first place will receive 12, number of members in Class A, equal 324 points. The total number of private points that first year Class A can obtain is also quite good. 12x3x2x1.5x10,000 equal 1.08 million. Then the 3rd grade Class A that wins first place will receive 13 people, number of Class A, x2, all 3 classes in the team will participate, equal 234 points. The private points obtained by Class A of the 3rd grade are also good. 13x2x1.5x10,000 equals 780,000. But didn't you say that you control the entire 2nd grade? After Katsuragi heard the results announced, he calmed down for more than 10 seconds before looking at Nagayunya. Just now I thought I was stabbed in the back by Nayun, but it turned out not to be the case. Because if Nagamo controls the 2nd graders, and then controls the 2nd graders to fish for garbage points at will, then Nagamo's group may be very safe, and can even win first place. Result: no. The winner was Horikita Manabu's team. Facing this result, Nanyun's expression seemed a little surprised. But this expression of surprise lasted only a moment. Are you nervous? Just now Nanyunya smiled. Actually, I was joking. My duel with Chairman Horikita is fair and square. So I wouldn't do anything about that. But Naun looked at Oreki. On the other hand, Oreki-san, you let the first-year students take advantage of the situation. I heard the news. You let a student named Hamaguchi who was on my team take advantage of you. The opponent simply abstained, Nagamo said, then stared straight at Oreki-san. Are you so worried about me winning? Oh. This. Katsuragi knew that not only Hamaguchi but also Yahiko, Oreki-san went to inform him after informing him. In order to be first in the group, the first graders on their side should do some operations. However, if Nagamo-senpai said this, does it mean that Yahiko didn't take advantage of it? Katsuragi felt a little strange. It's just that Mr. Mashima has continued to announce. Winning second place in the male protagonist group, the group includes Jinchi, the leader of Class B in the 3rd grade, Masaru Nagamo, the leader of Class A in the 2nd grade, and Hirata, the leader of Class D in the 1st grade. Congratulations on finishing second. You will get personal points plus 5,000, and class evaluation score at 1. Same as the first place. Please calculate the score yourself after the multiplication mechanism, and then go to your class teacher to get the correct score. Nanyun made his own arrangements, and naturally this time his class gained the greatest benefit from this exam. So he himself has 12 classmates, and then he pulls a classmate from another class to form a team. But because there is only second place, so I got a class evaluation score of 108 points. Then add up to 540,000 personal points. After that, the third place will be announced, which will not involve class evaluation points, but will simply be rewarded with private points. What needs attention are the last two. Among them, the fifth and sixth place will have their class evaluation points deducted. And because of prior arrangements. So, the first year group that falls in fifth place is the group headed by Class C Canada. The group that fell in sixth place and had the most points deducted was the group headed by Ryaji Kanzaki, Class B, first grade. However, another group of boys from Horikita Academy fell into fourth place, and each participating member had a few personal points deducted. Then, there are additional penalties. The leader of the group with the worst score will drop out of school. At the same time, the leader can nominate one person to accompany him to drop out. Among the total 18 groups of boys, the group with the lowest average score is the seniors of Class D in the third grade. This senior brought a member of Grade 3 Class C to be buried with him. In this way, the boys' results were basically announced, and representatives of each class also began to count the scores and losses of students in their own classes in this test. So I have a small amount of free time. Only. The girls' results have not been announced yet. Katsuragi has already completed the statistics. This time our Class C group can get 324 class evaluation points and 1.08 million private points. Hirata's team, where Yahiko and Hamaguchi belong, won the second place, so they can get a class evaluation score of 9 points. Oreki-san's team is in fourth place and needs to deduct a total of 33,000 private points. But we have agreed with other classes that we only need the class evaluation scores this time. In this way, this time the boys in our class can get 333 points. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 394. It's a reasonable result. As a student of Class A, I once again obtained a score that was different from Class B in the exam. It's a good experience. Are you happy with this? But Nagamo-senpai, who got a bad score, looked over. What I told you about Chairman Horikita was a joke. But pulling down Class A of the third grade is no joke, Nanyun said. Could it be that Katsuragi looked over? Yes, Nanyun said. I'm targeting the girls' group. Chairman Horikita is very strong. But like I said, he had to pull 39 people by himself. His group ranked first, but the other boys in Class A of Grade 3 could only finish fourth. So what do you think about the girls? In the girls' group this time, the girls in Class A, Grade 3, behaved very badly. Their goal seems to be to reduce the number of points as much as possible. So their groups are like this. 20 girls from Class A of the third grade, 14 of them got together, then 1, and then 5. So their grouping is Group 31, girls from Class 14A and girls from Class 1C. Group 32, girls from Class 1A and girls from Class 12B and girls from Class 1C and girls from Class 1D. Among them, the girl from Class A is Akane Takabana-senpai. Girls from Class 5A and girls from Class 7C in Group 33. Group 34, girls from Class 8B and girls from Class 3C and girls from Class 4D. Look what a boring grouping this is. It's not to increase the points, but to get as few points deducted as possible. In other words, be prepared to fall behind. Then Nanyun paused. And Katsuragi-san already understood. That is to say. Yes, Nagayunya looked towards Oreki-san. From the beginning, Oreki-san has just been watching. I can mobilize the second grade to intervene with them. So the final score will be scarier than they thought. The girls from the two groups of Class B in Grade 3 will win the first and second place. That is, the 32nd group and the 34th group will win the first and second place. Then the two groups of girls in Class A of the 3rd grade will get the 5th and 6th place. That is, the 33rd and 31st groups will take the bottom. As a result, the class evaluation score of Grade 3 Class B will increase by 324 at 48 equal 372 points. It's not over. Because Class A of the 3rd grade is in the bottom two, 42 add 25 equals 67 points will be deducted. Although Takabana Senpai was also assigned to the 32nd group and got 8 points. But it still doesn't help. Because this place has been opened up by 431 points. So, I will become crucial in the special examination for the next 3rd grade. I think Horikita Senpai knows how to choose. After Nan Yun finished speaking, the atmosphere seemed to pause for a few seconds. Katsuragi took out the handkerchief again and wiped it. He has been in the student union for almost a year and knows that most of the seniors have been bribed by Nagai Yunya. Chairman Horikita has always been on guard against Nagamo Senpai. The result is this. Nagamo Senpai. So scary. Nagamoya, who was so horrified, looked at Oreki-san. This handsome first-year student. So, will Oreki-senpai show a nice expression at this time? And Nanyun looked at the expressions of the students around him looking at him with satisfaction. He would deliberately talk to Oreki and Katsuragi about this for no other reason. But canvassing votes. If you show enough terror first, it will be easier for these first-year students to get their tickets. And the person who needs beating the most is Oreki Houtarou. If you continue to oppose him, Oreki Houtarou, you will have a very hard life. Nagamo suffered several losses from Oreki. But now, it's all over. And the value created by his control over the girls' group is also very high. The scores obtained in this exam will be converted into points by Grade 3 Class B for him. At the same time, you can get the position of Student Council President here. This is the most important. Whether it is the stability of the class in the future or the subsequent permissions, it is very valuable. And, as the Student Council President, he has the authority to expel students. So even though Oreki Houtarou is annoying, with the authority of the Student Council President, although it is best not to use it, Oreki Jr. can be eliminated. At the same time, even if you don't use this, just using the authority of the Student Council President to determine the score of each special test is enough to make the first graders live or die. So, whether it's Sakayanagi or Ichino's, let's watch. He will soon become a man you all regret. With this thought in mind, Nagamo looked at Oreki-senpai. Thank you Nagamo-senpai for your operation at this time. Oreki, who seemed to be just watching, finally spoke. Seeing you operating so seriously makes me feel relieved. Nanyun tilted his head. It seemed that he didn't react all of a sudden. Because. What does it mean? Everyone, be quiet. At this time, Mr. Majima picked up the speaker again. It seems that the results of the boys' group are announced and you are very excited. Now the first place of the girls' group is announced. First place in the girls' group. A large group composed of Asahi Ogura from Class A of the 3rd grade as the person in charge, Nana Asahina from the Class B of the 2nd year as the person in charge, and Chihiro Shiranami from Class B of the 1st grade as the person in charge. That is, Group 31, Group 25, and Group 19. The first place will receive 10,000 private points per person and add 3 class evaluation score. Similar to the boys group, please calculate the specific points after the multiplication reward mechanism by yourself, and then get the correct points from the class teacher. Teacher Mashima announced emotionally. After Mr. Majima made the announcement, Hanami Ichino's from the first year Class B on the girls' side breathed a sigh of relief. On the boys' side, Kanzaki and the others from first year Class B also breathed a sigh of relief. On the boys' side, Nagamo stood on one side, then the boys from Class A stood next to Nagamo, and the boys from Class B were not far away from Nagamo yet. And Kanzaki Ryaji was at the front of the queue, so he listened to all Nagamo Moss's words, and was now looking at Nagamo nervously. Because if Nagamo intervenes in the girls' group, wouldn't the strategy that Oreki-san assigned at the beginning to let the girls in their Class B win first place become ineffective? Then Class B of the first grade will be greatly separated again in this exam. So Kanzaki-san still felt that it was over. Result: the first place in the girls' group is the 31st group of the 14 seniors from Class A of the 3rd grade. Then the 25th group is Asahina's group, and then there is the group of the first-year student Shiranami, and this group is also the seed group prepared by Kanzaki and the others. So reality met expectations. Result: everyone then looked at Neunya. Because didn't you say you interfered? Can't we control the outcome of the second-year senior sister's interference? But the first place is still the determined result. So Nagamo-senpai is still joking like before? But Oreki Houtarou. Nagamo immediately looked at Oreki-san. Based on past experience, he knew that something must have gone wrong. P.S. It was on sale. I thought it was 10% off, but I was stunned when I saw it was 20% off. Did the first discount result in a broken bone? Please order in full. Ying ying ying. Also ask for the blade as usual. Chapter 160. Is there something wrong with my Sakayanagi Yuzu? The second place in the girls' group is composed of Luna Sakurakoji from Class C of the 3rd grade as the person in charge, Sayuri from Class C of the 2nd year as the person in charge, and Miki Yamamura from Class A of the 1st grade as the person in charge. The second place here is the same as the first place. Students need to calculate the rewards themselves and then check with the class teacher. But when the number 1 spot changed, Neun knew that his plan had been interfered with. Mr. Majima has also announced the results of the girls' group exam. For grade 3A, the results were not bad, because both the boys and girls groups not only maintained their class advantage, but also got a wave of good scores. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 395. According to this result. So, the composition of the boys' team. First place, 3rd grade 13A and C and D, person in charge Horikita Manabu, 2nd grade 10B add 2C add 2D, person in charge Kiriyama, 1st grade 12A and B and C and D, person in charge Katsuragi. Second place, 3rd grade 10B add 2C add 3D, the person in charge is in Class B, 2nd grade 12A and B and C and D, person in charge Nagamo, 1st grade 2 add 3C add 3B add 6D, person in charge Hirata. Third place, 5B add 5C in the 3rd grade, the person in charge is in Class C, 3A and B and C add 7D in the 2nd grade, the person in charge is in Class A, 4A add 10B in the 1st grade, Shibata in charge. Fourth place, 7A add 5C add 2D in the 3rd grade, the person in charge is in Class A, 9C and D in the 2nd grade, the person in charge is in Class C, 2A add 2B add 3C add 4D in the 1st grade, Terahiko Yukimura in the person in charge. Fifth place, 4C add 6D in the 3rd grade, the person in charge is in Class D, 6 add 4D in the 2nd grade, the person in charge is in Class D, 2B add 8C add 5D in the 1st grade, Canada the person in charge. Sixth place, 1C and D in the 3rd grade, the person in charge is in Class D, C add 5D in the 2nd grade, the person in charge is in Class C, 2B add 5C add 4D in the 1st grade, Ryaji Kanzaki in the person in charge. And the composition of the girls group. First place, 3rd grade 14A and C, the person in charge is in Class A, 2nd grade 5 add 5B, person in charge Asahina, 1st grade 12B and A and C and D, person in charge Chihiro Shiranami. Second place, 3C add 6D in the third grade, the person in charge is in class C, 3B add 3C and D in the second grade, the person in charge is in class C, 9 add 3B and C add 2D in the first grade, the person in charge is in class A. Third place, C add 8D in the third grade, 12A and B and C and D in the second grade, the person in charge is in class A, 6C add 7D in the first grade, the person in charge is in class D. Fourth place, 5 add 7C in the third grade, the person in charge is in class A, 9B and C in the second grade, the person in charge is in class C, 6C add 8D in the first grade, the person in charge is in class C. Fifth place, 8B add 3C add 4D in the third grade, the person in charge is in class B, 5C add 5D in the second grade, the person in charge is in class C, 4B add 6C and D in the first grade, the person in charge is in class B. Sixth place, third grade add 12B and C and D, the person in charge is in class B, second grade 5D, the person in charge is in class D, first grade 10A and B, the person in charge is Ichinos. The top 3 will receive awards paid by the school. The last 3 are penalties. For first place, each student participating in the group will receive 10,000 private points, and the class evaluation score will be add 3. For second place, each student participating in the group will receive 5,000 private points, and the class evaluation score will be add 1. For third place, each student participating in this group will receive 3,000 private points. For fourth place, each student participating in this group will deduct 5,000 private points. For fifth place, each student participating in this group will deduct 10,000 private points, and the class evaluation score will be -3. For sixth place, each student participating in this group will have 20,000 private points deducted, and the class evaluation score will be -5. So put it all together. The changes for the first grade are: first grade class A, 2,251 points add 333 points, boys score, add 44.5, girls score, equal 2,628.5 points. First grade class B, 1,120 points add 11 points, boys score, add 320.5, girls score, equal 1,451.5 points. First grade class C, 620 points minus 22 points, score for boys, add 0 points, score for girls, equal 598 points. First grade class D, 530 points add 32.5 points, boys score, add 19.5 points, girls score, equal 582 points. The changes for the third grade are: Class A, Grade 3, 2,401 points add 234 points, boys score, add 121 points, girls score, equal 2,756 points. Grade 3 Class B, 1,908 points add 60 points, boys score, 84 points, girls score, equal 1,884 points. Grade 3 Class C, 233 points add 4 points, boys score, 8.5 points, girls score, equal 228.5 points. Class D, Grade 3, 150 points add 4 points, score for boys, minus 51 points, score for girls, equal 103 points. It should be said that it is the annual score raising and points raising session for the third grade. Got a ride. Oreki-san is very satisfied. Everything is in plan. But after getting the results, Oreki-san looked at Nagamo Masaru. Almost immediately after the first place in the girls' group was announced, Nagayuna's expression turned bad. Although after that, Sheng held back his right hand with his left hand. Then, next, the school bus will be arranged to arrive at Forest School at 4 o'clock. So it's your time. Disband. Following Majima-sensei's voice finally announcing the end, Nagamo looked towards Oreki-senpai. So. Nagamo put his hands on Oreki-san's shoulders. The mood became quite unstable. Ah. This state. Seeing this situation, the first grade Class B students felt very familiar. Because it was like taking the test on the island, and then seeing Ryuan suddenly appear. As a result, Ryuan looked shocked and stopped them, looking for an explanation. At this moment, Nagamo-senpai and Ryuan-san, who dominated the second grade, overlapped. Long Yuan-xiang. Among the boys in Class C of the first grade, Ryuan did not leave together at this time, but stayed. Then, Oreki-san told the story. Everything became clear when we arrived at the playground of the forest school. Then I saw Nagamo-senpai actively challenging Horikita Manabu. Then let's wait for the decisive battle at that time, Nagamo declared to Horikita Manabu. This will be the beginning of a new era. This was what he wanted to say during the sports festival, but he didn't have the chance to say it. Then. Wait a minute, Nagayunya immediately interrupted Oreki-san. And because of Nagamo's strange behavior, Kiriyama also followed. However, the people of the Nanyun faction are quite powerful. Nanyun has some quite fanatical supporters in the second grade. And these supporters made other unrelated boys leave first. After all, everyone now knows that the results of the exam exceeded Naeun's expectations. So what happens next, is bad. Therefore, it is best to block the news first so that the situation does not get worse. Why start there? Or did you think that I would take action in this exam from the beginning? Naeun asked. You are a very strong person. Oreki-san knew that there were many students around him who were paying attention. Then you also know very well that this special test is crucial for the third grade. It's almost fixed that the ranking of the third grade will no longer change. I'm afraid that after class A of the third grade defends its title, the special test scores for the next 3 months may be like the lowest score of 50 points that first-year students have experienced several times, Oreki said. Majima. This is true. Because if Class B of Grade 3 catches up in this special examination, the school will consider raising the score to around 100 points in the next 3 months. Give Class B of the third grade a final chance to fight. However, once Grade 3A spots the title, it will be given as a reward to Grade 3A, with a score of only 50 points. Because this is the school's final assessment, which is to use all your abilities to unleash your potential in an infinite crisis. Although only one Class A will be launched at that time, the students in Class B who can catch up will also have valuable experience when entering society and can cope with various things better than the average person. Mr. Majima, who was passing by and had taught students from Class A, thought to himself. So although it is still a little early to say, it can be confirmed that Class A of the third grade has been officially decided to enter Kongping Avenue. But what does this have to do with you thinking I would do something? Why don't you tell me, how did you think that I would attack girls? Nanyunya continued. In fact, Nanyun felt that the situation was quite bad. The results of the Forest Stay exam are announced. There is no way to save the day. The current class evaluation score gap between third grade Class A and third grade Class B has widened by more than 800 points. Then there are only 3 months until graduation from the third grade. Then it is equivalent to 3 special examinations. According to observations from previous years, test scores at the end of third grade are very low. So there is no point in even using the power of the second graders to fully support the third grade Class B again. There is no way to cross 800 points. Then his position as student council president must be gone. So now Nanyun is in a low mood and just wants an explanation. He is also a very good and strong man, otherwise he would not have started thinking after entering this school and finding out that he was assigned to Class B. Then after mastering the rules of the school, he led Class B to counterattack, and then dominated the second grade. Everyone has formed a coalition of interests. Did he lose like this? His pride wouldn't allow it. Because Nagamo-senpai, you behaved very openly. This is not natural, Oreki-san said. So the more upright and fair you are, the more people will think that you might take action. Then the exam is divided into boys and girls groups, so if you are so fair on the boys' side, it won't be the same on the girls' side, Oreki said. Nanyun. Oh. That's it? Day. Nagamo admitted that when he was ruling the second grade, he expelled those who opposed him. Then he also specially arranged the number of students in the 4 classes, and screened the remaining students to see if they were harmful to themselves, etc. Even if he cannot dominate the class in the future, the 3 BCD classes will not be able to defeat his class. And if you want to do this, you must have been using means. Therefore, it seems strange that he was judged by Oreki Houtarou to be a man who knew how to use tricks, and Oreki's fair-minded Horikita-senpai challenged him. Then how did you arrange for the girls' team to win? Nanyun asked next. To be precise, it's the one from class A of the 3rd grade. To know. Neunya paused. Asahina is in the same group as the 14 girls from class A of the 3rd grade. And the students assigned by Asahina and the others got such bad results that even their mothers don't recognize them. In other words, Nagamo is indeed like this. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 396. You can control the second-year students, and then control the second-year girl group to directly drag the entire group into trouble. After all, the final performance ranking is based on the average score of the large group. Therefore, the results of other groups in the same large group need to be counted. Only. This is your fault, Nagamo-senpai, Oreki-san said. On the bus at the beginning, our first graders had already decided on the team. At the same time, I am also willing to place the first place in the girls group with Class B. And Miyatayanaga-san directly combined the winning team of Class B girls with Asahina-senpai's large team. Then I found out that I had been cheated. You didn't choose Asahina to win, but to let Asahina and the others personally control the girls' team of Class A, Grade 3. Sakayanaga-san also discovered this, so he got in touch with me, Oreki-san said. Is it from your home? Fortunately, there are only boys here, so no one reacted too much. The students in Class A expressed their adaptability. Even if Oreki-san and Sakayanaga-san suddenly announced their official relationship, no one was surprised. So many people stayed calm. The same goes for Katsuragi-san. But Katsuragi-san had more on his mind. What he was thinking was that Sakayanagi was similar to his younger sister. They were both small. Could he really bear the size of Oreki-san? Because in the forest school, the boys were playing haphazardly, so there was a lot of frankness everywhere. There the legend of Kojinji Temple and Ayanokaji's Tyrannosaurus Rex was born. Although Katsuragi was not interested in that kind of thing, he also observed Oreki-san. The conclusion drawn is that Sakayanagi is quite dangerous. It's actually Sakayanagi. The other person, Ryuan-siang, who took the initiative to stay, touched his chin. Because. Didn't this guy Oreki Houtarou beat him because of Kurosawa? It turns out that the right girl now is Yuzu Sakayanagi. So what is Kurosawa Megami's status? Oreki-san didn't know that the heart of the classmate he knew was changing. Because there was still some free time at the agreed time, and President Horikita and others had to be mentally prepared, Oreki-san did not leave immediately. Instead, he complied with Nagamo's request and explained. Banlieue and I ate together in the cafeteria and had a meeting. We got assigned to Asahina-senpai's group. Asahina Senpai's team is composed of 5 second-year Class A students and 5 second-year Class B girls. This kind of team doesn't look like it can fully score points. Then I contacted the situation of the boys on my side. You made a declaration to Horikita Senpai, and you came to play tricks to make things mysterious. So we all confirmed that you wanted to attack the girls. Have you confirmed everything? Nanyun felt that it was better not to stay just now. The mood turned sour. Then how did you let Asahina and her team win first place? You know, they are fishermen and their mother doesn't even know them, Nanyun said. It's very simple, a cute girl's voice appeared here. Because they were just fishing, but our first year students just abstained. After Mr. Majima announced the disbandment, the students dispersed. The Nanyun faction also deliberately evacuated the boys. But some girls also came here. Sakayanagi Yuzu held the cane in his hand. Kamuro Maesumi and Ichino-san were following behind. Kamuro has been a dog for a while, so he has no expression, while Ichino seems a little unnatural. You want to control the direction of the girls' team so that the team from grade 3 Class A will be in the last 2 places, while the team from grade 3 Class B will go to the first and second place as much as possible. But you are still too timid. I'm worried that if Asahina and the others give up, they will fall to the last place, and they will have to pay points for resurrection. And 20 million points is too much pressure for you. So you can only order as much as you want without any hesitation, Sakayanagi said. And that's your flaw. Nanyun. Your flaws. Nanyun's mouth seemed to be slightly open, but he could not speak. Because this is a fact. If he still had points and money on hand, then he would definitely choose to let Asahina abstain. In this way, it doesn't matter if the last one drops out, you can use points to resurrect. But there is no money. The great demon king Oreki deceived him. And Sakayanagi Yuzu asked him for mental damages. Then Archangel Ichino's also fell. Although he still has a milk tea shop, but he can't bear to use it as a mortgage. Because that was his last hope. So I didn't do that absolutely. So I just let them fish, but I couldn't let them do anything. As a result, the first graders took advantage of them. They fished, and they simply gave up because of their illness. Is this where you lose? Not decisive. And then, there was no money either. So Nanyunya looked at Sakayanagi Yuki. In the girls' group, since there are so many abstentions in your group, Banryu Senpai, your group will be the last among girls, and naturally there will be 2 dropouts. And the person in charge is Ichino Senpai. Look at the girls' rankings. 6th place, 3rd grade at 12B and C and D, the person in charge is in Class B, 2nd grade 5D, the person in charge is in Class D, 1st grade 10A and B, the person in charge is Ichino's. Then the last place in the girls' group is the 24th group of Itayanagi and Ichino's. The person in charge, Hanamai Ichino's, dropped out of school, and then Hanamai was able to name a student to be buried with him. So this is also a pretty bad situation. That doesn't matter, Sakayanagi-san looked at Oreki-san. It would be better to say that she also came for this forest camp exam. There are multiplied rewards, but also terrible punishments. The last person in charge of all groups will be expelled from school, but the person in charge can bring one person to be buried with him. Among the boys, there are already candidates who have dropped out, and the girls, naturally, there are also candidates. In her group, she originally abstained, and then she arranged for others to abstain, and Fanbo also abstained. The purpose is to pull down the group from Class B of the 3rd grade. And now the effect is significant. And the price is high. If she returns to school and does not have enough points to offset the withdrawal penalty, then she and Ichino's Hanamai will be expelled from school together. Understood. Oreki-san looked at Sakayanagi and nodded. I'll make them pay. Then Oreki-san walked towards the 3rd grade. Nagamo stayed where he was. This is not our first year battle, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. It's a third graders battle. Then the consumption will have to be paid by third year students. By the way, everyone in my team who participates in forfeiting can receive additional points as compensation. After all, forfeiting is such a risky thing, Sakayanagi said. Nanyuan. Nanyuan. Can it still be like this? P.S. The original work didn't have that much content. The innocent Tachibana Akane's group was at the bottom, and Tachibana Akane was named by grade 3 class B to drop out of school, while Nagamo paid the head of grade 3 class B 20 million to drop out. And Horikita Manabu paid Tachibana Akane 20 million. So, the arrangement of these groups was set by myself. I'm already bald. Note, 160 students in the first grade and 122 students in the second grade, 32 students in the second grade A, 30 students in the second grade B, 30 students in the second grade C, and 30 students in the second grade D. Note, 137 students in the third grade, 40 students in the third grade A, 35 students in the third grade B, 30 students in the third grade C, and 32 students in the third grade D. The above content is fabricated. Chapter 161 Harvest. Class A, Grade 3. Can it still be like this? Of course it can. After having lunch with Itaiji-san on the second day of forest school, Oreki-san and her had already considered Nagamomiya's possible move towards girls. At that time, Xiao Banliu's evaluation was, that person is quite boring. Nagayunya does have the need to take action or must take action. Horikita is about to graduate, and the position of student council president will be vacant 1 month before graduation. And this is a high school where the student council president is the pinnacle of all students. He has a lot of authority and may even participate in the calculation of scores for the school's special exams. Oreki-san also told Sakayanagi that if she could serve as the student council president, she could interfere with the scores of each student's special exam. This is very useful for maintaining stability in the class. This is done with the interests of your class in mind. It can be said that in this school, strength is paramount and points are paramount, so if you become the student council president, even if you use your authority, isn't it normal? You got that spot after all. Well, apart from their first year students, this is even more true for the second year students. Although Nagamo controlled the second grade, he was kicked out of the student union and his status dropped. It can be said that if he no longer works hard, he is likely to lose his current position. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 397. So he will take action. And Oreki-san is actually, well. In fact, he was waiting for Nagamo-senpai to take action. Because of Horikita's brother's identity, he has always been embarrassed to directly take away the points of the third grade. But now, it is better to say that he is very grateful to Nagamo-senpai for taking action and making these arrangements. As a result, the small goal of 100 million is about to be eliminated. Half done. Main mission: earn 100 million in 300 days. Task time limit, 230 days. Task requirement, in 300 days, extract 50 million from senior students and 50 million from freshmen. Task reward, soul out of body. Mission punishment, Kushida will be rubbed by Ichika Amasawa. Task progress, 99% add 50%. The progress of the tasks extracted from the senior class reached 99%, and Oreki thought it would be over when the points were collected. So now there is only one step left to collect money. So, he headed to the third graders team. The students in Class B of the third grade seemed to have changed their mood greatly after hearing Mr. Majima's announcement. It's like losing your ideals. Then eventually, when most students left, they also chose to leave. The students in Grade A, Class A, went to the playground after hearing the results. At the playground, the girls were initially arranged in groups, and then they were assigned their team positions. But now 40 students from class A of the 3rd grade are standing there. Manabu Horikita seemed to be communicating with them. When Oreki-san arrived, all the students in class A, 3rd grade, looked like they were facing an enemy. And a smaller girl with purple hair and a bun trotted directly towards Oreki-san. This is Akane Tachibana from class A of the 3rd grade. The secretary of the student council, the classmate who usually follows the student council president Horikita Manabu. One of the classmates who can help Horikita Manabu. Didn't you agree not to tell Horikita-san about me? Akane Takabana-senpai said directly to Oreki-san. It seemed to have a slightly complaining tone. And Horikita-san here refers to Horikita Manabu. Oreki-san understood. This is probably because Horikita Manabu has not prepared himself mentally for the students in the class. The amount to be collected should have been clearly explained to the students in the class, but most people felt that they didn't want to accept it. Because the amount exceeded their psychological expectations. What Tachibana Akane had more in mind was that this put a lot of pressure on Horikita Manabu. But it was like Fujimaki was contacted by a 3rd-year Class B student, and then Nagamo reported the situation to Horikitagaku, and Horikitagaku's statement was that he believed his classmates. So Horikita Manabu believed in his classmates. Then I believe that I can convince everyone to hand over the points needed for this exam. Just brother Horikita, are you going to collect money for him on the spot? Probably because the amount that had to be collected was a bit too huge and exceeded the bottom line of each student, Horikita and I lost the awe he had as the student council president for the first time. Someone probably prompted Oreki-san to arrive, so Horikita-san also came over. Sorry, give me a little more time, Horikita Manabu said. In other words, it will take some time. It's not that I may not be able to do that much, which shows that he still has a sense of trust in his class. But according to Mr. Majima, everyone needs to gather and get on the bus at 4 o'clock. It's almost 3 o'clock now. And Oreki-san doesn't want to spend so much time with 3rd graders. So he took a step forward. Oreki-san decided to collect it himself. I promised you back then, Oreki-san said to Akane Takabana-senpai beside him. I didn't reveal a word. But what you don't know is that I wasn't the only one who came there. What we are talking about here is that Tachibana was crying alone in the shoe cabinet. What Tachibana Akane wanted to do at that time was to hold back and stop causing trouble to Horikita Manabu. Was Horikita-san also there? Akane Tachibana was stunned. Probably because he discovered Oreki-senpai's persuasive intentions, Horikita-senpai began to cooperate. I was actually there. It's probably the 4th day of the exam back in the forest, Horikita Manabu said. On the first day, Nagamo challenged me. As for the girls, they will form the same groups as originally planned. As expected, whether it's the boys or the girls, Class B of the 3rd grade is uncooperative as usual. But just keeping our advantage going. But when I followed Oreki to the shoe cabinet, I found out that Tachibana Akane was being bullied, Horikita Manabu said. Thus, it can be deduced that the non-cooperation of Class B of the 3rd grade is to drastically shorten the gap with us in this forest examination. And the direction they chose is the girls' group. After saying this, everyone's attention was focused on Jujian. Well, although they were all classmates, but receiving so much attention made Tachibana feel ashamed. And then there's also a hint of guilt. Because she probably thought that the reason why everyone needs to pay so many points now may be that Horikita-san saw her situation, and finally joined forces with Oreki-san to complete this exam. And then paid such a heavy price. However, Horikita Manabu followed Oreki all the time, and then Tachibana Akane begged Oreki not to tell Horikita Manabu about seeing her crying and being bullied, but Horikita Manabu said it directly in public. From this perspective, Horikita Manabu may be a pretty straight man. Let Jujian be publicly executed. But Oreki thought it might be more than that. Because the situation was like this, Megami was asked by Oreki to follow Akane Tachibana. Then if something happens to Jujian, then report it to him. At the same time, pass the message, please follow Oreki Houtarou to Horikita Manabu. So when I met Megami in the cafeteria, Megami had already passed the note to Horikita Manabu. And Manabu Horikita was paying attention to him after arriving at the cafeteria. In this way, only then will Oreki appear to find Tachibana Akane, and then Oreki will listen to the footsteps and talk to Tachibana Akane. Let Horikita Manabu find out about Akane Tachibana being bullied. Then Tachibana Akane left, and Oreki started a conversation with Horikita Manabu, who appeared. He told the other party that the supporter of Class B of the 3rd grade was Nagamo Miyazaki, which meant that the opponent was an entire grade. Therefore, the current plan was finally drawn up. The 1st grade students abstained according to the arrangement and controlled the points. Then Class A of the 3rd grade won a great victory. However, Manabu Horikita is a person with a big picture concept, and he is also a good person. And this time I was negligent in taking the exam, he said. I thought Class B, grade 3, would fight back. But I didn't think it would be so violent. I just saw the situation on the boys' side and didn't carefully consider the situation on the girls' side. I even invited Nagamo to come over as a helper, Horikita Manabu said. Then this deployment was made. And Akane Tachibana is like this, so you must be like this too, Horikita Manabu said. They are all wronging themselves and bearing all the troubles and conflicts themselves. This is said with everyone's situation in mind. He got rid of the embarrassment of being singled out by Tachibana Akane, and turned her attention to everyone. No. Horikita-san. Horikita Manabu has a talent for speaking, and although he is not giving a speech now, his classmates were immediately infected. Rather say, they have always relied on Horikita Manabu. And such Horikita-san carries everyone and saves everyone in special exams one after another. Manabu Horikita is the one who works the hardest. Only, it's really too expensive, a senior said. This time's plan doesn't require spending so many points. In the first year female group, 11 students abstained, and then 2 students dropped out. We can bear the burden of exempting these 2 students from dropping out. Then everyone involved will give 500,000 points as compensation, the senior said. As soon as the senior opened his mouth, the others looked at Oreki-san. It seems that if we can spend a little less to count points, then everyone will not be so stressed. In other words, the remuneration planned at the beginning will be reduced. Do you want to hand over a few less points? Oreki-san took a step forward and looked at the senior who spoke to him. This senior is an acquaintance. It's the Fujimaki-senpai from the sports festival. But Fujimaki was better protected by Horikita Manabu. Because it seems that you, seniors, haven't figured out the situation yet, Oreki-san said. I'm not here to ask you for points, but you need to pay for yourself. Have you thought about it yourself? If we hadn't seen through the plan of grade 3 Class B, what would have happened to your class? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 398. The scores of the girls group will change dramatically, and the scores of the 2 groups of girls will be manipulated to fall into the bottom 2. And the girls group in grade 3 Class B can improve their scores. Manipulated to 1st and 2nd place. So what do you think the score will look like? If it is according to this idea. In the girls group, Class A, grade 3, will score -96 points. Looks okay. But if the girls from grade 3 Class B win 1st and 2nd place, then it will be at 372 points. Then, doesn't this directly shorten the gap by more than 400 points? You must know that the gap between them and Class B of the 3rd grade before the exam was only about 500 points. Everyone's expressions changed. Oreki-san continued. And you will not be surpassed in this forest test. But what about the next special exam? There are still 3 months left, so can you guarantee that you will win the next 3 exams? It's very painful, right? Because after working hard for 3 years, you have an advantage, but in the end you have to take the test 3 times again, and every time you are extremely nervous. As Oreki-san's words progressed, everyone's expressions became more solemn. Because what he said is right. If there had been no interference in this forest exam, then grade 3 Class B would have been able to catch up. They won't have much of an advantage anymore. And in the past few months, Class B, grade 3, has been very scary. The performance is different from before. Obviously, the 3rd year Class B has similar hardware to them at first, but because they have Horikita-san in their class, they can suppress the 3rd year Class B. But in the past few months, after entering the 1st grade, Class B of the 3rd grade seemed to have taken medicine. Continuously climb up. Super offensive. At the same time, because some of them were holding back, Horikita-san had to make arrangements taking into account the situation of these classmates. The most direct thing is that in the boys' group competition, the group except Horikita's group won 1st place, and the remaining group only got 4th place. It's not a very good result, and it's not in line with the excellence of Class A. So, the current situation is that they are not good enough, and their only trump card is Horikita Manabu. And Class B of the 3rd grade also took medicine, which was very strong. I really doubt that if that happens, Class B of the 3rd grade will rush directly, because the lower class has always been the most ambitious and aggressive. Therefore, these students also feel pressure. Then, Oreki-san paused. See what it is now. Class A of the 3rd grade scored 2,756 points. And Class B of the 3rd grade scored 1,884 points, which is more than 800 points behind you. If there are 3 more special exams, there is no need to worry. Not to mention, you maintained your advantage in the final test of the 3rd grade that can improve your scores. And I think the school will no longer conduct special exams with high scores, Oreki-san said. Is that so? Another classmate from Class A, grade 3, asked. It seems that even the seniors in the 3rd grade are afraid of taking the exam every month. Let's collect information on the special exams taken by 3rd year students in previous years when they were about to graduate, Oreki-san said. If I were the school, this high-scoring special examination can already confirm your position. Rather, you are about to graduate. The school has been using taxpayers' money, so it also needs to submit a document to the society. Enough answers. Should we rush the competition and let Class B, the last 3rd grader, represent the school, or should you represent the school? Oreki said. Need I say more? Of course, they are the ones who have always been in Class A and have never fallen out. After saying this, the students in Class A of the 3rd grade seemed to start whispering. Only. After discussing it, it turned out that I was really worried about the points I had to hand over. So there are students watching him. But Horikita Manabu stood aside after cooperating with Oreki-san persuasion at the beginning. Then. But Oreki-san feels that the waiting time has been enough. Do you still think the reward I'm asking for is expensive? You must know that Class B of the 3rd year has gone all out for this forest exam. Rather, what kind of price do you think it would take to get them to drive Nagamo to cooperate and let the entire 2nd grade help them? Oreki said. At what cost? Of course it's the position of student council president. Once he loses his advantage in this exam, even he has to go back to the starting point and consider whether to recommend Nanyun and let Nanyun give up interfering with the exam. Horikita brother thought in his mind. But he didn't speak. Because he knew that everyone was almost finished by being shaken by Oreki senpai. Look. That's an astronomical number. After all, they are buying their own future. As long as you graduate from Class A, you can get the school's honor and then go to Camping Avenue. If you enter the school without a point, then you can leave the school without a point, which is also valuable. And now I just ask you to give me 100 million. It's very cheap, Oreki-san said. You know, the exam is over now. What awaits you is the bright future of graduating as Class A. And the road has already been built for you, and then you have to pay for it. So, where can I find a seller with such high quality and low price as me? Oreki said. Damn it! Seeing the third-year seniors gathered together, and it was also the student council president's class, Shiana, who was a participant in this exam and couldn't wear gray stockings because she was wearing sportswear, paid attention here. Or even pretend to be passing by and see what's going on. Only. Even a cute and elegant literary girl. Hiri almost cursed in surprise. Because this is, too exaggerated. You must know that in this forest exam, Hiri's class cooperated with Oreki-san, and all she wanted was points. In this exam, first grade class C received 2 million points on the spot. Then I got an agreement to pay 400,000 points per month to Ichinos and the others from first year class B. This is already a good record for Hiri. Then Hiri also knew that Oreki was playing a game of chess, otherwise Itayanagi-san and the others would not have given up directly. Then, naturally, he will also ask for some points from Class A, the third grade student who was the biggest beneficiary of this exam. Result. Oreki-san, are your demands so big? 100 million. Are you a money-attracting beast? You are the gold-sucking beast. Chapter 162. I didn't expect you, Shiana-kun, to be such a materialistic person. Let's ignore the shock of the cute girl with long silver hair. Class A, grade 3 is here. Oreki-san's words moved me again. In the end, the seniors seemed to pause for several seconds. Then he looked at Horikita Manabu. Then he actually made a move. That is, they all bowed in the direction of Horikita Manabu. Thank you Horikita-san for taking us forward all the way, one student said. And Juchien also returned to those classmates. Therefore, this represents the thoughts of the students in class A of the third grade. I am very grateful to Horikita Manabu. Along the way, just like Tachibana Akane was bullied, but wanted to endure it and solve it by herself, others also knew that Horikita Manabu had done a lot for them. Rather, it was because of Horikita Academy that 40 of them were in class A when they first enrolled, and now all 40 of them are still in the school. Yes. Indeed, according to this Oreki Jr., they would have to pay an astronomical amount of money. It might even be possible to hollow out everyone. But undeniable. This is also a future. It is one's own payment that needs to be made. Because this is paying for your own future. Without Oreki's intervention, they might have been able to continue struggling with Class B and eventually graduate as Class A, but they might also have lost this opportunity. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 399. I'm afraid that by then many people will develop stress ulcers due to stress. And they don't dare to gamble on this future. So, the current situation is to accept the situation as it is. Rather, after thinking about it, I felt quite comfortable. Because enter school without a penny, and graduate without even a penny. But you can get the cash from the school and go to Kongping Avenue. So the value is worth spending. For the future. Thank you, seniors, for your gifts, Oreki-san said. Oreki-san's cell phone was still with Mr. Majima, but the third-year teachers gave it back to them in the gym. So, now Oreki can see the third-year seniors summing up the points to Horikita-gakuen. And now the situation is, everyone has cleared their points. Then summarize it and submit it to Horikita Manabu. After all, when I first met Horikita Manabu, the number of points in Horikita Manabu's personal account on his mobile phone was about 44 million. At that time, Oreki felt that a big part of it was class fees. And now, although several months have passed, but Class B of the third grade has been rushing upwards, so the points on Horikita Academy's side should have decreased. After all, Horikita Gakushu is very strong, but one person can lead 39. But Nanyun shook his head when he saw it. So now we need to collect the points from the students to supplement. After confirming this fact, Oreki-san was ready to leave. Get ready to get your phone back. But he noticed something, that was a cute girl with long silver-white hair standing blankly aside. This is Hiyori-san. The cat was lent to Banliu, so he got a new puppy. The reward this time will take a while, Oreki-san said. I haven't gotten it here yet. It is necessary to control the points and change the ranking of the girls' group. Although all members of Xiao Banliu's group can abstain, students from other classes are also required to cooperate. So, Hiri put in a lot of effort. Let her do the coordination. Otherwise, it would be outrageous for Asahina's group to be ranked first despite their poor performance. Therefore, in addition to Xiao Banliu's group, first-year girls from other groups also participated in the abstention. Forfeiting is quite stressful for new first-year students. Because once the score falls to the bottom, it will be treated negatively, and then you will definitely be forced to drop out of school. Therefore, it is more troublesome and time-consuming to mentally prepare these students. Because it was more troublesome and Kushida-chan probably didn't want to do the task of persuading people to abstain, so Oreki-san outsourced it to Hiri. Then he also agreed to pay Hiri a certain share of the share. Of course, it is none of Oreki-san's business how many points Hiri will give to the girls who prepare her mentally. There's no rush, no hurry. However, Hiri-san is quite cute. What should I say? Oreki felt like she was deliberately making herself 135% cute. There is even a hint of heartfelt flattery. This scene is like picking up a stray cat. Then this kind of stray cat will pretend to be cute for 10 minutes, and then make money for 10 years after being adopted. After being adopted, the attitude will not be so kind. However, I will only continue to show my cute and flattering attitude when I always value you. And the current Hiri is very similar to this attitude. Result. Shiana-san, do you want to be a house pet? While walking towards Mr. Majima, Oreki-san was thinking. Wait a minute. Oreki-san. However, Hiri-san, who had become cute, suddenly grabbed his wrist. Oreki looked at Hiri, and then noticed that Shiana-san seemed to be looking in one direction with a subtle expression. And Oreki-san looked over. Then he showed the same expression as her. Because a girl with beautiful straight black hair and foxy eyes was standing. It seems to be waiting for something. Then when he saw them, he walked straight over. Hiri was probably just passing by, but there was one person who stayed at that location. When she saw Oreki approaching, she walked directly towards this place. Can I borrow him first? The other party said to Shiana-san. For it. Okay, of course. It would be better to say that Oreki-san and I are innocent, Shiana-san said quickly. Because the girl coming over now is Suzune Horikita, a first-year Class D student who has been widely rumored to be dating Oreki-san and is often seen in contact with Oreki Houtarou. The student council is much longer. As Oreki-san's dog, Hiri knew very well that Oreki-san was paying close attention to Horikita-san during the previous rumors. Although she thinks that Itaiji x Oreki has a high probability of CP, she cannot resist the possibility of Horikita x Oreki. So he quickly ran away obediently. Can we talk alone? Suzun came to Oreki. It should be said that she is indeed a top-notch beautiful girl, with a light fragrance on her body. But Houtarou Oreki. Oreki-san feels a little stressed. Because from where Horikita Suzun was standing, you could actually see and hear the conversation between him and the students of Class A, the third grade, on the playground. So, the blackmailing of her brother was definitely seen. And the other side. Sakayanagi Yuzu and the others have already come out of the gym. Chapter 163, The forest exam is over, Horikita Suzun is easy to handle. Itayanagi and the others had already walked out of the gym and headed in the direction of Mr. Majima. While queuing in the gymnasium, they noticed that the senior class teacher had returned the confiscated mobile phones to the students. But their class teacher was the one who announced the results. So this step is a little later. It's just that they have been in contact with the class teacher for a year, so most students in class A know that their class teacher is a more rigorous and self-disciplined type. And sure enough, after leaving the gym, I found the head teacher, who always wore a suit and leather shoes, waiting aside with a backpack. Then, the students in class A gathered towards the teacher. It's not that I have absolute control over mobile phones, but it's really unbearable to not touch my beloved mobile phone for a week in a row. And this is outside the school now, so I can still tell my family that I'm safe. The students in the class are very energetic. Definitely. I have gone through special examinations with low scores of 100 points for 2 consecutive months. Although my class is Class A, I have always maintained an advantage. This is nothing. But this time in the special exam, Class A took another step forward. Class evaluation scores have been updated for the current 4 classes. Class A, first grade, scored 2,628.5 points. First grade Class B 1,451.5 points. Grade 1 Class C, 598 points. Class D, first grade, 582 points. There is a gap of about 1,200 points between him and the lower class. It can be said that it is extremely safe, and starting from next month, the number of private points issued by the school that each person can receive every month has increased again. Even if there is no other extra money, just rely on the existing points and then accumulate them. Then when you graduate, it will be a huge fortune. So, all we have to do now is follow the instructions and achieve a win-win situation. So the students in class are very energetic. Banliu. This is not an important thing to Banliu. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 400. As long as the students in the class are not like those in Class D who drag people down to the point of autism, there will be no problem. As for Oreki-san's cell phone, teacher Mashima also discovered that one of the students in Class A was missing. He also remembered that when he was passing by the gymnasium and coming out, Oreki-san was explaining his doubts to second-year Nagamo. So now it may be time to collect the exam reward from Class A of the third grade. Over the past year, there have been signs of interference in the special exams for the third grade. It can be said that teachers are also curious about what direction the third grade will eventually develop. As a result, he was harvested by the students in his class. Just leave Oreki-san's phone with me for now, Sakayanagi said. So everyone moved out of the way, and Kamuro-kun with long purple hair walked forward and came to the front of the class teacher. I received Oreki Houtarou's mobile phone. And Kamuro was just an agent, because she quickly handed Oreki-san's white phone to Sakayanagi. Generally speaking, mobile phones are very important in this school. Because it contains some private information, even student ID points, etc., it is difficult to tell others or even be exposed. A specific example is Hanami Ichinos. She was anonymously placed information containing a huge amount of points into the shoe cabinets of all first-year students. If it is not handled properly, it will be used as a weapon for other classes to attack Class B. So, is it risky for Sakayanagi to get Oreki's mobile phone directly now? Nope. No risk. Not to mention that Oreki-san is a classmate in Class A, and Itanyanaga would probably not do anything detrimental to him. Because Kamuro, who knew Sakayanagi very well, felt that Itayanaga just wanted to behave in front of Oreki. Look. Didn't Sakayanagi just hand her her own phone now and only hold Oreki-san's phone? The divine room. Although she felt that Banlieu was too licking, and she also felt it was strange. Because when she was in school, Itaiji said that if she was elected as the student council president, she would not give Oreki-san any position in the student council. There are no jobs for miscellaneous people either. Looks very bad. As a result, almost even Mr. Majima now tacitly agrees that Sakayanagi and Oreki-san have a good relationship. Then he gave Oreki-san's cell phone to her. So, what you are doing now, is this also your acting skills? Banlieu. But now there are only her and Banlieu here, so there is no need to be so explicit. Kamuro-san couldn't figure it out. And the other side. After Shiina-san escaped, Oreki-san was left alone with Horikita Suzune. Only. Oreki-san and Horikita-san walked at a steady pace. Oreki. Horikita. Neither of them spoke. Oreki. Horikita. They walked 50 meters together, but neither of them took the initiative to speak. Finally. This time the exam. Horikita Suzune said. Brother, their class evaluation scores seem to be stable. Oh. This is Horikita's sister. Listening to Horikita-san's voice, Oreki-san breathed a sigh of relief. I thought she was angry at her brother Lion for turning the best third-grade class into plucked chickens. It turned out not to be the case. Because if you are in an explosive mood, then you won't talk to someone seriously. Yes. Class A of the third grade will also face a very miserable life next. After several exams, Horikita Academy no longer had 44 million on hand. Then the students need to gather together. Generally speaking, if it is a shift fee, how much do I need to pay? So this is why Oreki-san first asked Ichino-san how to pay the class fees for her class. The response I got was to hand over 50% minus 60%. So, if Horikita-san had 44 million points in hand at that time, then that means that almost 7 or 8 months ago, the total number of points in the hands of the third grade class of students was about 30 million. After so many months, although class fees are being consumed, students are also spending their living expenses to live their lives. So overall, Class A of the third grade needs to collect 100 million, but just looking at the points they have on hand is not enough, so they can only continue to use the method of class evaluation scores. Their current class evaluation score is 2,756 points. Then I will stay in this school for 3 months. There are 40 people in a class. So you can collect about 30 million private points. And if all these points are used to pay off debts, then their living expenses will be threatened. But after all, it is for my own future, so it is still worth it. If 100 million is divided equally, each person can live the life he wants with 2.5 million. Isn't this very cheap? Certainly. This is very cheap for them, and for Oreki-san, he is the driving force behind this matter. Before Nanyun made a move, he was thinking about how to trick them into getting the points. Then Nanyun took action, just in time to get the points openly. So, Nanyun was also used by him. And now, I did push hands this time in the exam, Oreki-san said. But it also makes sense to collect those points. It's better to say that we have to do this, Oreki-san said. This time I asked them for 100 million points. It's mixed with the personnel arrangements for deployment, the points that need to be spent, etc. But the point is not to ask them for points, Oreki said. Isn't it about extracting points? Horikita Susan seemed a little surprised. Because since she met Oreki-san after entering school, her experiences have told her that Oreki-san has been cheating students of all grades and even the school to get points. Isn't it the result now? Of course, Oreki-san said. I am also a student of this school and have been favored by this school. Then, in fact, even if I don't interfere in this exam, then class A of the 3rd grade lost its advantage in this exam. But your brother will also lead his classmates to work hard in the next exams and eventually graduate from class A. I believe he can do this. But, Oreki-san said, don't you think this is unfair to your brother? Isn't it fair? Yeah, that's not fair. Because he is very good. If you look carefully, you will find that only the group he is in will have a high score. He is very strong alone, but his classmates are not enough. Then you can finally graduate from class A, and everyone will be happy, right? No. Because this is your brother's effort. He has always been working hard alone. Others were taken away because they were in the same class, and they did not pay the value that needed to be paid. It's quite a shame. So this can be regarded as a shame for Horikita-senpai, Oreki-san said. So Horikita's sister raised her left hand slightly, seemingly placing it on her chest. Are you acknowledging your brother's hard work along the way? Recognize Horikita Manabu's efforts along the way, and then, go and strip Horikita Manabu naked? Oreki-san. Even if Oreki-san feels that the little princess Sakayanagi has infected him with a thick skin, at this moment, he will still feel the reproach of his conscience. But now that Horikita Manabu has been stripped naked, Horikita's sister is not angry either. Or maybe she thought he was treating her brother like an ATM machine. Sure enough, it took on his shape. Ringtone, what should he do to you? 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All the students lined up according to their respective classes and got on the bus. Sitting in the car, I stared at the constantly leaping scenery outside the window, and then looked at the forest school getting further and further away. I feel a little bit regretful. A little angel with short blonde hair seemed a little sentimental when he saw such a scene. Although life is very hard for a week, everyone is busy with various courses every day.